Now for the footboard, what I've done here is I've turned it over and I've got a spare piece of cocktail stick, and I've just placed it directly in the centre of the footboard, and then just with a pencil marked it down the size, because that's going to be the guide for me putting in the yoke for a start, and also when I put the matchsticks in, which they're going to run along, or which it's going to run along, then if I put them both in together with the glue, then I can really press them together to make a good join. So that's how to do that bit. So the matches I'm using for all these wooden beams or square beams are Cook's matches, which you can pick up at any pound shop, and they're very, very handy because you get a nice length with them for building all sorts of things. You know, houses, bridges, you name it. It's basically a square plank of wood, so very, very useful. And of course I get my wife stealing them to light candles, the candles you get in the glasses, so they're ideal for those. And I have to keep telling her, if you use one, please give the spent match to me, because I can actually use it for something. So I'm constantly battling with her to get these back. So what I did with this yoke was put super glue all over the join, and then just dipped it in a container of water, and it's made a really nice join there, because it's sort of expanded when it's reacted. So I'm quite happy with that. It's sort of more through luck than judgment. So I'm now going to attach it. I've cut the bits of matchstick to make the join on here. So I'll show you that next one. I've joined them up. So yeah, there you go. I think that's going to make a really solid join. So let's let it dry, and then we can move on. So I've now put the 5 parts together of the base and the back and sides and the front. And I use super glue, but there are a few little gaps. So what I've done is I've just run PVA glue along the gaps just to plug those. Why not? You're just going to put gesso over it anyway, and it just makes it a bit more, well, fills the gaps really. So yeah, you can do that, and the underneath looks like that. Not so important filling the gaps on the underneath, because who's going to pick it up and look underneath, to be honest, when it's on a base? It isn't going to happen. Do it if you like. I'm a bit of a sort of sad person who does do things like that, like paints the bit of the saddle where the man's bottom's going to go, and you're not going to see that, are you? So okay, let's carry on with the rest. So I've attached the foot plate with the yoke, and I've cut off the bits of the axles that were sticking out, and it leaves a nice little round end to the axles there, because you're cutting them over the little wooden boards that I've put on there. So I've cut 3 lengths of matchsticks just under 2 centimetres long, and I'm going to start building up a seat for the driver. So I've stuck one bit of matchstick down for the footrest, and pushed 2 matchsticks of the same length up against the wagon, and put a little seat made out of coffee stirrer on top of that, which is slightly longer than the 2 matchsticks, just to make it a little bit more interesting. So there you go. So I've painted the carts. These are the 2 versions that I've done so far. I might do a bit of a dry brush highlight on these, which I think will make them look just a little bit nicer, and then all I've got to do is put the canvas on the top, and then we'll get ready to baste them. So I did the canvas on the wagons with a sand colour, and then just did a light black wash over them to just sort of pick out the details, make them a bit more sort of rain, dirt stained. And I've moved on to adding the traces for the horses. I've used my trusty rope-like thread for that. I really cannot remember where that on earth that came from, but it's been really, really useful. I'm sure the wife must have bought it for something and she's not asked for it back, and she ain't getting it. And I've started doing some horses as well, so they're nearly done. So all I've got next to do is base them and attach the horses. The ropes will be primed with gesso as well to stiffen them, and then painted with a sand colour as well, or Iraqi sand from the Vallejo range, to make them look a little bit darker. So I shall move on to that now. And I just want to point out that what I've done to make it a better join is to wrap the rope around the I'll call it the yoke, because then, oops, you get it looking like that, so bear that in mind. Okay, so now I've got the two wagons ready. I've attached the horses, which is a very, very fiddly job, and all we're doing now is just waiting for everything to dry. I've got to do some touching up on the wooden parts of the limber yoke that are attached to, then do the filler on the base and paint it and do the flocking, and then we are done. So the next scene you will see is when they're actually finished. I quite like this. So there you have it, both wagons completed now, and I'm quite chuffed with them. I mean, they do look a bit old schooly, rustic, but yeah, I might have to find some drivers for them. I'll just give you a view from the rear, and there you go. I do like the effect the struts have made on the canvas of the covering. So yeah, quite chuffed, and thanks for watching.